and this chip should give me all that I need, I think, at this spot to pull up a KO here. They've taken, and they're going to bring this in. Wow, this is actually huge. That is Choice Scarf Mienshao, I think. That actually is probably Choice Scarf Mienshao. It is time for GBU week number 3. This is a massive turning point in the season. We are playing against Galvanate. Both of us are 0-2 coming into this week, and we are going to need a win if we have any chance of making playoffs. 0-3 certainly isn't knocked out, but it's going to be very, very difficult to make playoffs from that position. If you are excited for a great battle today, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also like the video. I'm trying to get to 400 subscribers this year, and if we can get there, that would be awesome. So let's talk about the matchup a little bit here. You see my team on the left. I've not made any changes. That will change going into next week. I'm going to do a video on that in the middle of the week, talking about the changes I'm making to my team going into week 4. But if we look at Nate's team here, this is a lot of interesting Pokemon here. Palafin, Landorus T, Ogerpon, the fire one, Weezing Galar, Klefki, Hydreigon, Mienshao, all Pokemon that are very, very threatening to this team. And he's got a really diverse set of offensive threats. It's going to be really difficult to prepare for all of those, and you're going to see in the team that I bring, I'm going to have to ignore at least one of them. One of the Pokemon I'm ignoring in this matchup is the Regieleki. I think it's kind of impossible for him to bring that Pokemon against Ting Lu. I just don't see how you can really possibly bring that Pokemon, and I actually don't bring Ting Lu in this matchup. Partially for that reason, I need some other Pokemon as well. So that's kind of some interesting layers here, but the combination of Palafin and Ogerpon are really, really difficult for me to switch on. I don't really even have a good Ogerpon switch in, honestly. I'm going to be really reliant on, my offensive pressure and Stealth Rocks to keep that Pokemon off the field. Looking at the rest of his team, though, the main Pokemon we need to clear out of the way is that Klefki. Choice Scarf Gyarados is amazing in this matchup. He has no answer to that Pokemon besides the Klefki and a Weezing Galar with a little bit of health, but even then, he has to hit a Will-O-Wisp, which is, you know what, I missed a few moves over the last couple of weeks, we'll say, so sometimes not the most reliable move to go for. So that is going to be essentially the game plan, is we're going to target that Klefki, force it to come in, take a lot of damage, and get into a position where I can't even switch in on Gyarados anymore, and Choice Scarf Gyarados can win this game. But enough talking about the matchup, let's get into the team. So we've taken a look at Nate's team. Let's see how we're going to attack this matchup. This is a very, very difficult matchup to play around specifically, and I think I spent about an hour pathing through and navigating how do I play this game from turn 1. There are so many critical turns in this matchup, preventing Hoopa from going, basically claiming a kill on turn 1, preventing stuff like Landorus T from setting up and getting out of hand if he wants to bring a setup set. A lot going on here. And the way that I path this game out is going with Greninja lead here. Spikes, Surf, Ice Beam, Protean, and the reason to go Protean is it protects against the Mienshao U-turn. So you use Surf, go into straight water type, and you're protected from that Mienshao U-turn. Allows you to be a little bit more aggressive against that Pokemon. If I was Battle Bond, for example, and they were a Choice Scarf of their own, they're not going to be able to kill me with the U-turn. So that's going to give them a little bit more of a difficult decision to make in that matchup. This Pokemon is primarily here for dealing a lot of damage to the Weezing Galar, which is another reason around Protean we removed that Dark type to just keep spamming Surf. Strange Scream still does a lot, but by all means, but it's not going to be a killing and blowing move. Swords Dance, baxcalibur, let's move back up to this Pokemon. We've kind of gone through what our lead plan is. Swords Dance is going to give us the ability to break through stuff like that Landorus T, Ice Shard after, at +1, because Swords Dance plus the Intimidate, that's going to kill pretty much every Landorus set, bar some, Yachi Berry sets are a possibility. And then Earthquake is going to be the coverage move for Klefki, and that's why we have the Lumberry in this matchup. Allow the baxcalibur to get T-waved by the Klefki, and then just drop it with an Earthquake in response, preventing the Paralyze, and just keep going, cleaning up as much Pokemon as we can along the way. As I said in the team, and as I said in the matchup preview, this is basically going to be a team design around killing the Klefki and enabling that Choice Scarf Gyarados in the endgame. And let's move to that Pokemon. All we really need for coverage-wise on this Pokemon is Tera Blast and Waterfall. Mainly only the Tera Blast, honestly. Tera Blast pretty much kills every Pokemon on my opponent's team. you're going to see me in the battle stress a lot about getting damage on Hoopa. Hoopa's the only Pokemon I'm really concerned about getting damage on, and it's a really good matchup into my team. If you look here, I don't really have a great switch into that Pokemon at all. I mean, my fairy switch-ins aren't great. I think that's been a common point people have mentioned in the past. So I need to be at about 10% on that, and that'll enable this Gyarados to sweep. One place we can get that damage is on Screamtail. This was a Pokemon I debated being my lead for a long time in this matchup, and the reason that I debated this Pokemon being my lead is that I can Dazzling Gleam on turn 1, deal the requisite damage to that Pokemon, set up rocks, and get basically full information on the set. This Pokemon is EV to the sense that each set is easily identifiable based on what's possible to kill. So any set that kills me has to be slower than my Screamtail. I put enough speed to, ensure that situation, and that allows me to Dazzling Gleam, get the requisite damage, bring in Choice Scarf Gyarados, and start dealing a lot of damage. Now, doing that early on in the game is problematic, as we do have to worry about the Klefki, and Klefki is not going to take a lot of damage from Tera Blast, and Waterfall needs a little bit more chip to KO the Hoopa. So a little bit of a concern there to keep in mind, but one thing that's good about Klefki is anytime that comes in, Iron Hands is the perfect switch in, baits all the T-Waves in the world, and the only switch in for this Pokemon really is the Landorus T, and I'm free to click Ice Punch every turn. Like, I just don't care. No matter what is in front of me, if I have Iron Hands and Landorus is in the back, I'm just clicking Ice Punch. There's no other play that I really need to, predict in this situation. No need to get cute. Let's just catch Landorus early and often as we can. And if, something like the random Palafin wants to come in, that's even, really impossible to come in. If he wants to bring on Hydreigon to predict Earthquakes against Klefki, boom, you're catching an Ice Punch. So that is basically going to be the move I'm clicking a lot here, and then that opens up Volt Switch once Landorus is down to bring in stuff like the Choice Scarf Gyarados in opportunistic matchups against something like the Hoopa. Houndstone here, this is a great answer to the Palafin. Palafin doesn't do almost any damage to Houndstone at all. Rocky Helmet allowing that as well. This is also a good Pokemon to deter U-turning from Yanchao. He could use Yanchao as a U-turn option to get in his Hoopa. This Pokemon makes it more difficult for him to do that. Rest Sleep Talk gives me that inevitability over time, and then Willow plus Body Press gives me, so ways to facilitate damage against those Pokemon outside of just the Rocky Helmet. So that's the team. Let's get right into the battle. Alright, it is time for the battle here against Galvanite. This is, in the Team Builder, as I said, a very, very peculiar matchup. This is a really good matchup for the Choice Scarf Gyarados. Choice Scarf Gyarados goes crazy in this matchup. We need a little bit. We need some chip on the Hoopa, like barely anything. Needs like one hit. And we need to chip down the Wheezing Galar. And we need to obviously kill the Klefki out the way. And then at that point, it kind of goes ham. My dedicated lead in this matchup... Oh my god, why am I lagging? Why is this... Oh, it's because I have it under the desk. That's why. Yeah, under the desk moment. Oh my god, my anxiety is like very, very high for this game because there's a lot riding on this game, of course. But the Greninja lead is going to be very effective because I think it protects against all of the possible leads here. It has a little bit of difficulty against the Hoopa lead, but I think we're most likely going to expect to see Lando lead or Palafin lead. I think it's most likely going to be Palafin lead, and the reason that I'm predicting Palafin lead specifically in this spot is because of the fact that I think this matchup is going to be really, really quick to the point of... Oh, he's going to lead this off instead. Okay. This hella screams Choice Scarf. Yanchao to me, most likely. It's kind of like the most likely scenario here. We can get the information early on. If it's Regenerator, he could just click Knockoff. I mean, it could be likely that I'm Choice Scarf as well, which, I don't want to lose. I don't want to take damage unnecessarily in this Screamtail. I need as much damage as possible on Screamtail just to preserve the information on... Why is this Greninja on the ground? To preserve the information on that Pokemon. To preserve the information and get off Hoopa with that Pokemon. So I'm going to go right into the Houndstone here. Houndstone probably... There's like a decent chance it takes a knockoff here. Yeah. That's going to do a little bit of damage, but that Rocky Helmet is going to be nice. And I'm actually going to be able to get off a Will-O-Wisp here. Hoopa could obviously switch in here, and I think that's the most likely Pokemon we're going to see come in is that Hoopa. And if I get a Will-O-Wisp off, that does open up the door for a Choice Scarf That does open up the door for Choice Scarf Gyarados to check that Pokemon. And a Will-O-Wisp on kind of some other things would be really, really nice too. I obviously can't body press the Hoopa. So this would be my most effective play, I think, is just to click Will-O-Wisp in this position. If my opponent somehow stays in, obviously that would like be really, really nice, but getting a burn off on this Hoopa I think would be particularly useful. Moustache. I'm going to assume that's the Weezing Galar, actually. Okay. Well, getting a burn off on this is actually really, really nice as well. This looks to be potentially Levitate, because we didn't see Neutralizing Gas come up. I guess it could still be Neutralizing Gas. I actually don't know if that ability shows up in this spot. Let's see what my opponent could do here. This burn is actually going to be really, really nice over the course of this game to pick up some of that extra damage. I think Shadow Ball is a pretty likely play. I don't really have a lot of good switch-ins to this, to be honest, which is going to be a difficult thing to manage in this matchup. I could go for the Body Press here. Body Press, just deal a little bit of damage, continue to get some chips, see what my opponent wants to go for. If they go for the Shadow Ball, that would be good information to have. We are faster. This is obviously like not doing much, but yeah, I don't have a really good switch into the Strange Scream. Here, we do see the leftovers. That's going to be neutralized by this burn here, a decent amount. And we do get to see what move this Pokemon goes for. I can rest up here, actually. Rest would be a fine play to go for, I think. We don't really lose much momentum. Strange Scream does have 16 PP. That's something I'm going to probably keep in mind. But Rest, I think, will be nice here. I could also go into this, but he probably has Sludge Bomb. Or Sludge Wave. Yeah, he only has Sludge Bomb as an option. I'm just going to rest up. Let's get our health back. Bring this back to full HP. We can prevent this thing from really doing a lot here. And this gives the HP back to help take advantage of the... I'm going to get confused here. That's doing 130. So this can take advantage of the Palafin at a later point in time in this game. So now I have to choose to make an aggressive play here, I think. I can't like check if this is Levitate or not yet. And this is obviously not in range. The Strange Scream is doing a lot here. I really did not prep for this spot efficiently enough. I can probably path into this and then path into something else, actually. Is I think probably the play I want to go for. If they click Sludge Bomb here, that's a good move on their part. And that's going to put us in like a little bit of an awkward position. They're just going to do Strange Scream, okay. I could use this as an opportunity to get up my rocks. They could have Defog here, obviously. They could be scared of a Psychic move, actually. Psychic move could threaten them out here. I don't see what they would go into. They could probably go into Klefki here, actually. I think they probably go for... Man, the Strange Scream does so friggin' much to this Pokemon. Or the Iron Hands, too. I really need to preserve health on this, too. I'm just going to go into Iron Hands. Man, I'm feeling really bad about this spot. I don't think this is going well at all. I don't really feel confident about this situation. He is going to withdraw. Okay, so I did actually effectively scare him out of that, which is nice. Kakis comes in. In comes Klefki. That's actually perfect, and it is Air Balloon, which is nice. So that means Magnet Rise is like actually kind of unlikely in this spot. It's obviously possible, but I think it's probably relatively unlikely. I kind of like the combination of Ice Punch here into Earthquake. I think might be the best move that I have. If he tries to set up spikes on me, then I'm perfectly okay with that. And I do need to break that Air Balloon, so I'm just going to Ice Punch here. Ice Punch is my safest play, and if he gives me Landorus damage early, then that is like massive. Mike, let's see what this one is. Perfect. He's going to give me Landorus damage early. This is going to give me a good amount of information on what type of Landorus this is as well. Well, that looks to be... Well, I think we figured out this is offensive Landorus, because this is... No, this is very defensive Landorus, mind you. Yeah, we know this is like uber defensive Landorus. This is not full defensive Landorus. It's not like a Rocky Helmet set. It's probably some sort of boot set. But this is actually very, very good for us. We know Earthquake is doing... probably 60% here. Earthquake is like a pretty obvious click here. I can go for something like an Ice Punch here again, and just to guarantee to get this Landorus out of the way. I can go into this Pokemon here, use this as an opportunity to get my rocks up. I don't think that'll be relevant. that much in this matchup. I can go into Houndstone again. That's just going to bring in... It's going to bring in this Pokemon. I think this could be not great, but I do want to pick up some information. I think he probably U-turns here. He's just going to actually get a Stealth Rocks. Okay, perfect. Actually sacking that off, which is actually a really, really good play on his part to get those rocks up. And because of the fact that we know this is a super defensive Pokemon. Actually, we don't even know if this is necessarily super defensive. I can just click Dazzling Gleam here actually pretty freely. I could click Ice Beam. Ice Beam does give me the requisite damage I need on Hoopa as well, most likely. I have to be mindful now that there are rocks up, so I can't bring in my... What is it called? I can't bring in my thing as often as I would like. I'm just going to click... I'm going to click Ice Beam. I think Ice Beam, in case he goes into the Weezing Galar, I think opens up some calcs on that. That would be really nice here. He is going to go into that. Perfect. Okay. So that's going to help open up a little bit more on the calc side here to get some damage off. So the question now is how do we want to play this match up here the rest of the way? So if I look at about how much this is doing, this feels like pretty like decently Spadaf. It might be a little bit less than that. Like, how does Greninja come in and fare against this after? Like, he could Strange Scream. I do think I have to choose to lose this Pokemon potentially here in this spot just to get some extra damage on this Pokemon. I think a Sludge Bomb is potentially likely, but I think I have to then use baxcalibur to get the requisite damage on the Hoopa that I'm looking for. My opponent's going to withdraw. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what they go into. FJM, that's a new Pokemon here. It is the baby Palafin. Okay. Any freezers? This Pokemon getting frozen would be kind of funny. Alright. So, I think this thing has to hard out, right? Yeah, he does have to switch it out. Which means I think I can go for the Dazzling Gleam and open up the calcs that I need on the Hoopa. I could elect a Thunder Wave, but I don't think that's going to be a really productive turn. He could go into something like Mienshao. He could go back into Weezing. I'm just going to Dazzling Gleam. He's going to actually stay in and probably flip turn out here. He's going to fling Light Ball. Okay. The Fling Light Ball is going to paralyze me, which is kind of funny. I'm not really that concerned about this. This chip is also nice as well, because this allows this Pokemon to be Mickey'd up by the Gyarados. Ooh, this does open up Modest Life Orb, actually. I'm actually, like, pretty at risk here of the Hoopa coming in. This Pokemon getting damage is nice, though. Do I Ice Beam, or do I Dazzling Gleam here? I think I'm just going to Dazzling Gleam. I think my opponent is just going to switch out here. I don't think Weezing's coming in. I feel like Hoopa, this is an opportunity. In comes Envy. That has to be the Hoopa, right? That's like the last unnamed Pokemon. Really need this Dazzling Gleam to go off. Nice. Really crucial to get that chip, and that chip is going to basically open up, is really going to open up this game, because that's going to allow me to check this thing with Choice Scarf Gyarados. And once again, I have to be really, really mindful of my Choice Scarf Gyarados in this spot to maintain the ability to keep using it as a threat. But Modest Sheer Force, Shadow Ball is obviously doing like a million here. What is... Do I get like any relevant information here? Depending on the set. No, pretty much all of the Shadow Balls are actually killing at this point. I can bring in baxcalibur to deal some damage after. But I think the angle is just going to be to go into Choice Scarf Gyarados afterwards. And my opponent is going to go for the Tera. Okay, so we picked up the requisite damage we needed on this Pokemon early. But that is going to mean we have to be really mindful of the Palafin. Because we want to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where we have to take a hit that we don't want to. My opponent's just going to Tera Blast, actually. Interesting. Tera Blast actually did not a lot, and I fucking get paralyzed. That's actually really, really annoying. Yeah, that's actually really, really tough to see. Tera Blast was a decent mid-ground play, but we should get enough information off of that to figure out what type of Hoopa this is. Tera Blast at about like 140. This looks like a Modest Choice Scarf to me. Like, this is feeling like Modest Choice Scarf. This is definitely feeling like Modest Choice Scarf. I'm just going to Thunder Wave. I think that's probably fine. So Modest Choice Scarf seems to be the most likely thing with this set. I can bring in, and now the thing is with the Landorus low, this is like a decent opportunity. Yeah, I'm just going to bring this in. I do have to be mindful against Palafin now that I don't really have the potential ability to live a hit here. No, I actually have like a decent amount of a chance to actually live this, so I'm just going to go into this. I still like, I need to take like 3 rocks to make that a risk here at this spot. Wow, I actually got the EVs right. I was actually worried for a minute I was not going to get those right, and this chip should give me all that I need, I think, at this spot to pull up a KO here. So I'm just going to click Tera Blast Flying. My opponent could switch out here, but all the switch outs are like really, really good for me. So they probably have to know that I'm bringing this in to threaten the Choice Scarf. I think it's like pretty like obvious that that's the play that's happening here. They don't really have much recourse against that, and they're going to kind of recognize that, that's what's going to happen. And they're going to go into this Pokemon. This might actually pick up a little bit of a 2-hit KO moment here. If this is like as sped up as I think it might be, this might be a 2-hit KO angle, which would be really, really good to pick up. Obviously, we're not going to be doing anything crazy here, but it would be nice to just actually like pick up this Pokemon straight up. Yeah, I am actually going to be able to pick up this Pokemon. And this Pokemon's been such a nuisance to switch into. It's going to be nice to bag this one early. So the question is what does my opponent elect to go into after this? They probably go into the Palafin. Well, I'm going to pick this up, and I do have Moxie, so they can go into Palafin, but like a +1, like Palafin's not doing a lot here. We pick up our first kill. They probably have to go Klefki here, actually. Like Klefki is like the only Pokemon that like makes sense to like bring in this spot. Otherwise, like you're putting yourself at a lot of risk in this game. And if they somehow don't have T-Wave, I mean, they have to have T-Wave. Like, it would be kind of illogical for them not to have T-Wave in this matchup, realistically. Tera Blast at +1 is, like, obviously, like, doing, like, pitiful amounts of damage as well. Bring out Kakis, that is going to be the Klefki. It is still Air Balloon, which is good to note. Question is how do I want to approach this turn? Probably just go into Iron Hands. I think Iron Hands is just going to be my switch in kind of every time to this. I don't really have like a reason to differentiate my plays here. My opponent could double out into Landorus. That is a possibility. That'd be a good play on their part. They're just going to click Thunder Wave. Yeah, they know that like this could get bad if they don't click Thunder Wave there. So I think that is a good play on their part. You know, not to put any risk on this matchup. Certainly. They probably go Lando here and sack it off, to be honest, and try to get their Hoopa back in. I think it's the most likely thing that happens here. I'm just going to Ice Punch and see if they let me have... They could let me have the Air Balloon on this, which would actually be really, really nice. They are going to withdraw. Okay. And I'm going to bag the Landorus T here, which is good. So that's one more Pokemon out of the woods. Or one more Pokemon gone. That opens up Excalibur a good amount as well. That opens up Iron Hands, which is really, really nice. But I'm expecting Modest Choice Scarf Hoopa to come out here. Yeah, this Pokemon kind of comes in on me every single time. Let's go into the Hoopa Calc. Let's run the calcs. What do we got? Choice of Scarf. Tera Blast. Probably doing 1,000,000 damage, I would imagine. Probably... it does have a decent chance to kill me. And I do need this to, you know, deal some damage to the Klefki. Question is what do I want to choose as a sack in this spot? If it's Modest Choice Scarf, baxcalibur can actually come in after the fact here. And actually check... Oh man, that does so much still. I think I do just have to go maybe Houndstone. This Palafin is opening up some Jet Punch calcs, which I don't really like against this Pokemon. I actually do want this for Palafin. I think I'm just going to sack this Pokemon off. Let's get rid of the Houndstone. Houndstone, salute to you. You put in a good effort in this matchup, and unfortunately we're going to have to sack you off just to preserve some momentum in this game. My opponent is going to elect a Psychic. Psychic is an interesting play here. If they are Modest Choice Scarf, Okay, so if their Choice Scarf, I can actually bring in Greninja here pretty freely and scare them out with Gunk Shot. I think that actually might be a good play in this spot. I think there's like a pretty high likelihood that their Choice Scarf, and if they're not, this Surf is going to be very, very deal a lot of damage, and that's actually going to open up the calc on. That's actually going to open up the calc for. What is it called? That actually really opens up the calc for the baxcalibur to come in and pick this up later in the game. So I think this is probably Modest Choice Scarf, and like this Surf is like really, really difficult for my opponent to switch in on. They really don't have anything that appreciates this right here, so I'm just going to click Surf. Yeah, that's Modest Choice Scarf then. Yep, perfect. I think we've figured this set out perfectly, and that's like kind of the risk there that they've taken, and they're going to bring this in. Wow, this is actually huge. This is actually like massive. And like this Protean's going to go off. I could have spiked there, but Spike I think is like a little bit too aggressive. Wow, a crit is actually insane there. Wow, that crit's actually really, really unfortunate for my opponent. I do not envy them in this spot whatsoever. That is very, very frustrating for them. I think the Thunder Wave is kind of obviously coming here. But if I do clear this Pokemon, like if they Thunder Wave, if I clear this Pokemon, then I do win the game with Gyarados, which has kind of been the game plan all along. And the Weezing is gone, which is what I really need this to do a lot of damage against. So I'm just going to click Surf. Let's just go for it. See what my opponent wants to do. My opponent could get really aggressive here. They saw me go into Iron Hands last time. So I think I'm just going to click Surf, and I kind of want to kill. I just got to kill this Pokemon. And then that opens up all the calcs that I need. That opens up everything. The game's over at that point. Wow, and they're going to switch. Yeah, this game is probably has a decent chance of just being over in this spot. They're going to bring this Pokemon out. Okay. This Pokemon's going to take 1,000,000 damage from this Surf. They are not going to appreciate this. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's going to give us some decent information on this Pokemon. I think they recognize that they really can't let that Klefki go down because of the Choice Scarf Gyarados. What is this Pokemon called? Mienshao. Assault, that is definitely not Assault vested. That took a lot. That is, yeah, there's certainly no investment in this Pokemon, so this is probably just like Choice Scarf. Mienshao. Thing is, with the Water type, I actually live all hits. The only thing I don't live is a high jump kick. No, I don't actually live a lot of hits here. I can go into Iron Hands. I think they kind of just U-turn here, actually. I'm just going to Surf. I think this is really aggressive. Yeah, they're going to U-turn. Perfect. Wow, that's a really, really good call on my part there to get that play and get this Surf off. And they're going to have to pick something to take a little bit of damage. They could go into Klefki here, predicting a U-turn. They could go into Palafin. I don't see them going into Hoopa. I think Hoopa would be potentially a throw play in this spot. Man, if they give me... Actually, I'm okay. They're going to go into the Palafin. 0 to hero Palafin, and now it's in its fucking bullshit big boy form. It's in his bullshit big boy form. Okay. That Surf is doing a decent amount here. So, I think my most likely play here is they could be Rest, Bulk Up. That is a possibility that they could be Rest here. I kind of just like U-turning here into... I could U-turn into baxcalibur, probably. If I U-turn into baxcalibur against the Palafin, there's really not much that they can do to me, honestly. They could Drain Punch, but then they have to switch into the Glaive Rush, and I do have the Lumberry, so I'm actually just going to U-turn here into my baxcalibur. And I'm doing all these calcs on Choice Banded as well. They could be 100s, they could be like very, very fast. I could just go into Iron Hands as well. Iron Hands is actually a free Volt Switch here as well. They could Flip Turn on me. Flip Turn, if I go into this, then it potentially opens up. I kind of want to go into this, because if I preserve health on the baxcalibur, it becomes a little bit better of a proposition against the Hoopa. Though I think the Hoopa, I'm still like immediately bringing this Pokemon in after. Though I still want to preserve baxcalibur as much as I can. I think if I go in this, I Waterfall against that, and I Waterfall win the game. I'm going to go into this Pokemon here. Because if they stay in an attack, and then I can Volt Switch. And they're just going to Drain Punch. Alright, perfect. Yeah, just trying to get some health back here. So Thunder Punch is a pretty like risky proposition for them here. They don't have a lot to switch into this Thunder Punch. What do they go into here? What can they go into here? Especially this close combat is going to do like a lot to Palafin. And they could go into Hoopa. I could Earthquake the Hoopa. The Hoopa's taking a lot from this Earthquake and then puts it in range. Does this kill the Palafin? The Earthquake does have like a decent chance of killing no bulk Palafin, so I'm actually just going to go for this because it pressures the Hoopa really efficiently, which I'm really looking for in this spot. They're going to go into Klefki. Okay, perfect. Well, we've opened up the end game. The end game's here. All right, we open up the perfect end game here, and that is to set up the Gyarados, and we've killed Klefki, and then the rest of the Pokemon are just going to die to Choice Scarf Gyarados here. I think Mienshao, we got the information off that it is. Oh wait, so we U-turned. That is what, Choice Scarfed. That is Choice Scarf Mienshao, I think. That actually is probably Choice Scarf Mienshao. Yeah, that actually is Choice Scarf Mienshao. Okay, so that's good to note in the back. We need to be mindful of that. I could keep this Pokemon. I could just sack my Greninja and go straight into my my Gyarados to check that and just click Tera Blast. If I kill this Pokemon, then I think I win the game as well with the baxcalibur in the back. So I think I'm just going to sack off the Greninja here at this point. I think there's not really much Greninja I can offer in this matchup. At this point, I can still use the Iron Hands to check the Mienshao plus Palafin combo in the back, and I kind of want to see what they lock into. They could lock into Tera Blast. Yeah, they're just going to lock into Tera Blast here. And now Choice Scarf Gyarados is going to get to come in and do its thing, which is like exactly what we need it to do right now. If he brings in Mienshao after, I think we're perfectly fine with that. I think we accept that reality and just like force him to attack. I can expect the U-turn probably, but I mean, we're Tera Blasting here. There's no... I mean, we got the requisite chip. That's what we needed. So if my opponent switches out, they switch out. That would be massive, but I don't think they can. I don't think they're at their liberty to do that at this point. Yeah, Choice Scarf Mienshao is pretty good in that spot. Are they Choice Scarf Mienshao? I don't know. I don't know why I'm like short-circuiting on whether they're actually Choice Scarf Mienshao or not. I mean, either way, I can just stay in with this Pokemon regardless. I mean, they don't have a Tera Blast switch in. This thing is certainly dying. And they're going to withdraw. Wow. Okay, this is like a potentially sack. Like a potentially throw play. Alright, well this Pokemon's going to die. So, okay, they have to do this because they have to be Choice Scarf Mienshao in the back. That's like the only way that this play is like profitable or like, you know, logical to make this sort of play. So I think I have to sack baxcalibur here. What do they bring in? Yeah, well, not, what did they bring in? They obviously bring in Mienshao here. Mienshao is the only play that they have. Yeah, so they're definitely Choice Scarf Mienshao, yeah, because on the turn they U-turn and I surfed the Klefki. So they have to bring in Mienshao here. They're probably thinking here just to make me like try to forget the fact that they're Choice Scarf. GG, it's envy. Oh, they're just bringing this back out. Okay, well, I mean, I'm Choice Scarf, so I'm just going to click Tera Blast here. There's not really much that I can, you know, that I'm going to do besides this. I mean, this is always outspeeding, so. And with Moxie, that's definitely killing. Wow, huge to get this Pokemon done. And now against the Choice Scarf Mienshao, it should be pretty academic to pick up the last kill. Man, this is such a nerve-wracking game. This is such a nerve-wracking game, honestly. Jesus, what a crazy game. And I think at this point, I'm also just gonna sack my thing to this. Like, I have no reason not to just click the Tera Blast here. I mean, it's gonna be Choice Scarf, but he could like miss here. I can get a kill, and I can just come in with Iron Hands after and kill. So I'm just gonna Tera Blast. He's just gonna knock off. That's actually not even gonna kill. So I'm just gonna get all the rest of the kills with the Choice Scarf Gyarados. Big win for Choice Scarf Gyarados. We needed that one. Just so much. We needed this game right here to bring our season back on track. And Choice Scarf Gyarados showing here why it is one of the best threats that you can get in low tier Tera. Just unbelievable. Just once we got that Klefki out of the way, no switch-ins to this Pokemon at all. And just such a clean game from the Choice Scarf Gyarados. As I said, we really needed that one, man. My anxiety coming into this was huge. I've been in a lot of situations where I've been 0-2 recently in Showdown League, so it's good to have an opportunity to get back to 1-2, get a big win here, and move into the next week against Obo. Hopefully go 2-2, and then that gives me a great opportunity to make it back into the playoffs. Big turning point in the season, hopefully this. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you have not already. I will see you guys next week, and as always, have a wonderful day.